That thing you're watching this on right now, your phone, your laptop, whatever it is, it probably feels a bit like a magic box, right? Well, what if I told you that behind all that complexity is a really simple, elegant idea? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you the fundamentals that power our entire modern world. I mean, really think about it for a second. You click a button, you type something, you swipe your finger, and stuff just happens. But how? What's the actual logic going on behind the scenes? That's exactly what we're about to find out.
All right, so to get to the bottom of this, we got to start at square one. We need to ask the most basic question there is. What even is a computer?
When you strip everything else away, a computer is actually surprisingly simple. It's a machine that just follows a specific cycle over and over again. It takes in some raw data. We call that the input. It does something with that data using a set of instructions. That's the processing. And then it gives you a result, the output. That's it. That's the fundamental loop.
And here are the 4 big steps in that cycle. Let's use an analogy. Think of it like baking a cake. The input, those are your ingredients: flour, sugar, eggs. The processing is you mixing everything together and putting it in the oven, following the recipe. The output is, of course, that delicious finished cake. And the storage, well, that's you saving the recipe card so you can make it again later. Every single thing your computer does, big or small, follows this exact pattern.
So we get the basic idea now, but what's actually doing all this work? To understand that, we need to peek inside the machine and see that it's really made of 2 essential halves, the physical stuff and, well, the non-physical stuff.
See, every computer is really a partnership. You've got the hardware, that's the physical stuff you can actually touch. It's the brain, the bones, the body of the machine. And then you have the software. That's the set of instructions, the programs, the thoughts that tell all that physical hardware what to do. You absolutely cannot have one without the other. They need each other to work.
So let's quickly break down that hardware. First, you have the CPU, the central processing unit. This is the brain. It does all the heavy lifting, all the calculations. Then you have RAM, or random access memory. Think of this like a workbench or your short-term memory. It holds whatever you're actively working on right now. Storage, on the other hand, is the permanent filing cabinet. It's where you put things away for the long term. And of course, you've got your keyboard, mouse, and monitor. Those are the tools that let you talk to the computer and let it talk back to you.
So how does that brain, the CPU, actually think? Well, it's a beautifully simple 3-step dance. First, a part called the control unit grabs an instruction. Next, the arithmetic logic unit does the math or logic required. Then, the result gets sent off to memory. And here's the absolutely wild part. Your computer does this simple little cycle: fetch, calculate, store, billions of times every single second. It's mind-boggling.
Okay, so we've been looking under the hood at the how. Now let's zoom back out and look at the why. Why are these machines so important? I mean, what has their impact on our world really been?
The computer's advantage really boils down to 3 superpowers. First, incredible, almost unimaginable speed. Second, the ability to automate repetitive tasks perfectly every single time. And third, the power to process and store amounts of information that would just completely overwhelm any human brain. It's that combination that has totally changed the game.
In business, for example, this translates to a massive jump in productivity. Computers manage everything from global supply chains to store inventories, handling massive amounts of data and freeing up human beings to focus on more creative, strategic work.
And in education and science, wow, they've literally opened up new worlds. We have access to a global library of information with just a few clicks. And scientists, they can now process enormous data sets to make discoveries faster than ever, from mapping the human genome to modeling climate change.
Now look at fields like healthcare and communication. Computers help manage our patient records securely and efficiently, while medical software can help us track our health. And at the exact same time, they connect us instantly with anyone, anywhere on the entire planet.
From tracking every single financial transaction in the world to analyzing complex market trends and making government services more efficient, computers really are the invisible backbone of our modern society.
So that's all great. The big picture is amazing. But let's bring this right back down to earth. What does all this mean for you? Why should you personally care about these fundamentals? Let's make this personal.
Okay, so let's break this down. In your personal life, just knowing the basics helps you manage your digital world, stay organized, and just handle things more efficiently. But professionally, this is where it gets really serious. Being able to create reports, analyze data, and collaborate securely, these skills aren't optional anymore. They are the language of the modern workplace.
And hey, don't think for a second this is just for office jobs.
Even in super creative fields like art and design, knowing the fundamentals gives you a huge advantage. It helps you use powerful software more effectively, keep your projects organized, and, maybe most importantly, solve your own technical problems. It really empowers you to be more self-sufficient.
And you know what the best part is? You can start from absolute zero. This isn't some exclusive club you need a secret password to get into. The basics are designed for beginners, so it's totally okay if you're brand new to this.
So if you're feeling a little inspired, here's a really simple path to get you started. First, just get familiar with the hardware components we talked about, the CPU, the RAM. Then explore your computer's operating system, whether that's Windows or Mac OS. And finally, just practice with the software you use every day, like your web browser or a word processor. It's a step-by-step journey that builds real confidence. So there you have it, the what, the how, and the why. You now understand the basic cycle that powers nearly every single piece of modern technology. The only question left is, what are you going to do with that knowledge? What will you create, or organize, or build with it? The potential is all yours.